Assalamualaikum. Good morning. My name is Wata. I am one of the Backstreet Girls at the IEM. I was going to say IGM for a moment, just thinking, who the heck is IGM? So for my sins, I've been dragged in to become a moderator for today. I have no idea why. That is because our speaker for today is engineer Razak Yakob. Those of you who have ever turned up to follow our channels, our SOC media, Engineer Razak is very prominent for whatever reason in those channels. So again, I do not know why I'm moderating this talk because he is a drilling engineer consultant and well capable of moderating himself unless you don't pay him, and then he will moderate in the corps. So today's talk will be on well plug and abandonment, the complexities. If you're expecting a talk on ITSIG, you are definitely in the wrong room. Please register somewhere else. This talk today is hosted by the Oil, Gas and Mining Technical Division, OGMTD. As usual, we'll be running for 2 hours. 1 hour, Engineer Razak Yakob, who has been in the industry for 25 years, working for various multinational local companies. He has been both in the consulting and in the driving seat. He has worked for, he has both been the guy who has signed the paychecks and the guy who waits for paychecks. So 1 hour you will be entertained and you will be amazed, well, amazed maybe not, but you will definitely walk away with knowledge and questions. And therefore, the second hour for today, it will roll over into a question session where you can ask Engineer Razak whatever you wish about the topic at hand. He will not be given advice on love life, but you can ask and you take your own chances. So with that, I see we have an interesting video for you to capture your gaze. So with that, I hand over to Engineer Razak. Engineer Razak, the choice is yours. But before that, those of you who are online, if you know your cameras are on, that's good. If you accidentally leave your cameras on, that's good as well, I guess. Engineer Razak, over to you.
Yes, Assalamualaikum and a very, very good morning. Thank you so much, Engineer Wata, for the intro. So good morning, everyone. So make sure that all of you are comfortable in your seats for the next 2 hours. You'll be hearing me talk, as well as you can actually ask questions. I heard that the session today is full house. If you manage to register, that means you are the one of the earliest one, because once it's full, the registration is closed. So today we have full house. Thank you so much for joining in. And what the topic that we have today, what you are seeing, I will not be showing videos. I hope, I myself can entertain you for the next 2 hours. So we will not be seeing videos. But what you're seeing over here is a visual of what happened in the at the Mocondo field in Deepwater Horizon in the Gulf of Mexico. 11 people died over here, and it happened on the 20th April 2010. And it is considered as the largest accidental marine oil spill in the history of petroleum industry. And up to now, 65 billion US dollar environmental cleanup charges and penalties has been paid, as well as 20.8 billion fines. So it's a large amount of money, and compared to the 1MDB scandal, this one is probably much, much bigger in terms of the volume that involved. You just imagine, you can go ahead and Google about this Mocondo field or Deepwater Horizon. You can watch the movie as well about this happening. But 11 people die. So what the topic that I'm going to talk about today is basically because of this. Whenever that you are not able to plug the well properly, either to suspend it, which is in this case, or to permanently abandon it, then this will happen. So that's the reason why this is the first visual that I put in, so that all of you realize and appreciate the seriousness of the topic that we'll be talking about today. Yeah. So let's take a look at. But before I start, I would like to actually promote some of the OGMTD talk, IEM talks that will be happening in the next few months, so that all of you, if you are interested to hear about this talk, come and join us, because OGMTD will put together talks so that you will benefit from it. That's the whole point of the IEM existence, is to basically, help you to bring up your career, to put the knowledge, to share the knowledge with all of you. Okay, so Saturday, 25th of February, be ready that we are going to have common piping system issues during petrochemical plant startup. So we will have 2 speakers over there. Mark your calendar. This will be a very good talk for you to actually attend. The next talk that I would like to promote is actually on the Wednesday, 1st of March 2023. But this is a weekday, and it's also a virtual, and it starts at 5. What we will have over here is a Sembang Chillax episode 6. It's a session which is taboo topic that we are going to talk about, and it is about dulu saya engineer. So those people who work as an engineer and then they found their own passion to do something else. So in this particular episode, you will have someone who was a civil engineer for like probably 10 years, and then she is right now a commercial pilot. So, and you will have entrepreneurs, and then you have engineers who basically become singer-songwriter. So it's a very, very exciting session. So come and join us over in Sembang Chillax, 1st of March. And then on Saturday, 18th of March, we will have a series which is Successful Women Engineers in the Oil and Gas Industries. If you follow our GMTD talks, you will realize that we have Glenda Chang last month, who was a reservoir engineer and right now is the CEO of Stralex Group. So we are talking about successful women in the oil and gas industry, and we work together with Women Engineers section to come up with this topic. And on 18th of March, you will be hearing Norzalina Jamaluddin, CEO of the Southeast Asia Hibiscus Petroleum. So mark your calendar. And Saturday on 18th of March in the morning, you can join us virtual, and in the afternoon, you can come over for physical session. Actually, it's a one whole day event. IEM, yes, is actually doing an open day, and this is over in UM. So make sure you mark your calendar, 18th of March, Saturday, the entire day in UM, and they have a lot of events to entertain you for that particular weekend. But I will be one of the panelists of the Sembang Chillax about the future of engineers. So come and join us on this. And on the 24th of May, after we basically have a rest during the Puasa and Raya, so on the 24th of May, we will have part of the series of the successful women in engineers in the oil and gas industry. We will have Intan Sharina Sharani, who actually will be talking about arlage. What is arlage? Later, come and join us on the 24th of May. And on the 3rd of June, we will have the physical session in Malakoff Auditorium, and this will be Dr. Jayanti Ramasamy. Dr. J, other than having a PhD in petroleum engineering already, she just got her bachelor in jurisprudence, legal. So it will be an interesting talk. She is the expert and also the subsea manager of Hibiscus Petroleum, but it will be an interesting talk. So come and join us physically on the 3rd of June. Okay, back to my talk. I hope all of you are all, hype up and sync up with us for the next few talks that you have in the next few months. Yeah, and also right now on the talk of the well plug and abandonment. This will be the talk. Oh, why did I have that? Can I go and clear that? Hold on, yeah. Let me just erase that. Probably I can't. So anyway, all of you will have to see that line. So anyway, the talk objectives of this 2 hour session, I hope at the end of the session, all of you are able to know the requirement of the plug and abandonment. Why is it so important? As I mentioned, why is it so important? Because it is a safety of not just the life of people, but also our environment. So that's the reason why we want to make sure that this plug and abandonment is done properly. The second talk objective is actually to recognize when well plug and abandonment is required in the life of field. So there are throughout the life cycle of the field, starting from the time that you do a proposal to do a well exploration, into the production, into the enhance or recovery, and so on and so forth, until the well is no longer good to produce, and we need to plug and abandon it permanently. So recognize those. And then the third objective is distinguish the differences between types of wells P&A. So you will see what is the different, and then appreciate the process of wells P&A. So I hope at the end of the talk you check yourself whether you actually have gain this knowledge and meet the objective, because whenever that I deliver talk, I will need to make sure that everyone understands the talk and actually gain something of it. And you need to make sure that you check yourself whether you actually understand the talk or not. And this talk, will be made available on the YouTube channel. IEM has a YouTube channel. Yeah, so make sure that you go into YouTube, you subscribe to IEM official HQ channel, so that you can get access to all of the videos. This will be one of the few talk videos that will be on the first few, because later we will we will put over there all the talk videos that we have. Okay, on with the talk. So this topic, I have already written an article, and it was published on the November 2018 Jurutera Bulletin. So if you would like to know more about this topic, you can actually go in and read through Jurutera Bulletin November 2018. You can access it easily over in the website, IEM website. So go into the IEM website and access all of this. Yeah. And also, I have actually done the talk on the 12th of September 2020. So that was like 3 years ago. So this talk is similar to the talk that I have done earlier. However, I have included a few new things inside there, because in the oil and gas industries, things actually move forward, and they keep on changing. So you will need to update yourself. Okay, so for the people who basically have been in the industry or whatever that you do, for a very long time, more than 20 years, you need to keep update yourself with whatever that is new out there, so that you become current and and you stay ahead of your expertise level. Yeah. All right. Okay. And then today, this is the talk that we will be doing today, which is the we're looking at the complexities. Well Plug and Abandonment is not just about, okay, I'm done with this well, it doesn't produce anymore, let's put the cement inside it and plug it. No, there are ways on how to do it, and there's a reason behind it. And today's talk, we will actually go through with that. All right. So the talk content, we'll be talking a little bit about the introduction, and then introduction of myself, requirement, and then life of field, when basically asset decommissioning and wells decommissioning actually done. And we have put together over here kind of like a process in terms of the types of the PNA as well as the process. And the process that you have inside here is for you to easily understand, as well as remember, in the PNA, these are the process that you have to go through. So evaluate, design, assemble, isolate, and confirm. Remember, at the end over there, always confirm, because if you don't confirm that you actually have that, that's the reason why Deepwater Horizon Mokondo field disaster actually happened, because it was not confirmed. But whenever that we talk about an incident, whenever that you go into HSE, when an accident happen, it's not just one mistake. It's not just one mistake. In the chain of work that you do, there's always like many instances where errors actually occurred to contribute to that disaster. Yeah. So if you would like to know more about the Mokondo, I can see that all of you are, wow, I would like to know more about Mokondo, Deepwater Horizon. First, I would say, go and watch the movie. And secondly, there's a lot of Wikipedia information that you can actually get about the Deepwater Horizon disaster. All right. And then the summary, we will talk about that. Yeah. All right. And this is the introduction of me. Yeah. If you do not know me, I used to be the OGMTD chairman. Now it's engineer Li Chang Kwan. So if you would like to actually join and contribute to the OGMTD, you are most welcome to join in the meeting, to become an observer, or even to come over and to say hi to the committee. We meet once every month, and the reason why we meet is to come up with ideas on what to show all of you, to provide you talks that will benefit you and your career. Yeah. And I'm also the vice president of IEM. So I'm in charge of the InfoPub. And thank you all for voting for me last year. And I will be VP for the next 1 year. It's a 2-year term. So thank you. And why am I qualified to actually talk about this? Because the last 2 projects that I have done was a project management for the abandonment as well as the well decommissioning. Yeah. So these 2 projects has been very, very challenging. In fact, I think it is more challenging than the drilling itself. Not just about the not because of the technical part of it, but in terms of the management of the project. You will understand later why basically it becomes really, really complex. Yeah. Well, I have more than 25 years of experience in the oil and gas industry. So let's move on and talk more about the life of field. Okay, so this is the life of field. So as I mentioned, from the well a proposal where we drill exploration well. First, you will see all these squiggle lines over here. That is what we call as a 3D seismic, three-dimensional seismic. That is whenever that you put in an explosion or the sound that gives the reflection of whatever that is downhole, whatever that is down there in the formation. And then from that we will get an idea of what is the structure is like, and then we basically figure out that there is some form of fluid. So what is that fluid? Is it like gas? Is it water? Or is it oil? Or is it hydrocarbon? So that's the thing that we have during the well proposal. We figure that things out, and then we confirm it with an exploration well. And if we found oil over there, we have to analyze it in the field development, because we need to know whether this oil that we have over there is actually able to be commercialized. So we figure out how many wells that we want to drill, how many platforms that we want to put in, whether this area is actually a offshore, onshore, where is it located at? Who owns this place? So, and who basically gets, whenever that we sell the oil, who basically gets the money, so there's a lot of things that interesting process that you have to go through coming up with the field development plan. That for petroleum engineering students in the universities, they will have 2 semesters doing the field development plan, because it's an integrated work where you will need to work with multidisciplines. All right. And then we drill development well. And we talk about drill development well, that means we are drilling production wells, drilling for oil, drilling for gas. Sometimes we also drill to inject. Why basically that is? There will be other talks that I will be talking more about this. If you find this interesting, so make sure that you stay tuned in our talk, because we are going to talk more about oil and gas industry. What we do over here, what is so interesting? Why basically do people like us get paid so a lot? So probably, some of us actually do get paid a lot, but others are quite normal. So it is an interesting industry to work in. So we produce. So we have the production in primary mode. So if you see this is what we call as a sucker rod pump, and you will be able to see this onshore only. You will not be seeing this offshore, because it is based on pumping, and it will not work on the offshore, because it's a big structure that you need to put over there. So we have a workover and well services whenever that the production probably become less, so it's not producing anymore. So and then some leaking happen, because down there, when we talk about 3 kilometers downhole over there, the pressure is high, the temperature is high. So all of our hardware that we put inside there, although it is a steel, it can get corroded. Corrosion happens whenever that you have oxygen, and whenever that you have water, which means the content of oxygen. So, and down there you will have that. So, and whenever that you have higher temperature, you will increase the the rate of corrosion. So that's why you need to go into the workover and well services as part of the secondary production. And then the tertiary level is where you will go in with enhanced oil recovery. That is when you try to drill the other parts of the field so that you maintain the pressure. because the wells that you are producing right now, because whenever that you are producing, you are not like you know, keep on sucking it, but you will need to get the drive mechanism of pressure downhole. So that's the reason why as well, if you see Mokondo over there, you know, the all the fire whatsoever, the oil spewing out and all that, that is because of the natural pressure that you have down there. That's the reason why whenever that you want to drill, you have a BOP on top of it, and this BOP is like a 15,000, you know, pressure PSI of BOP to contain the pressure that you have down there. So why do we have all of that? Why do we take all this trouble to make sure that the hydrocarbon does not actually come to the surface uncontrollably? The key word over here is uncontrollable, because you want the oil and the hydrocarbon to come out, but you want to make sure that you are able to control it. Yeah. And then, of course, after the enhanced oil recovery, or even after the primary one, if we don't see any potential to do the secondary or the tertiary, we will go with the plug and abandonment. And that this is where as well, if we have a platform, we will need to chop off that platform or remove that platform. And again, there are many use of that. And later as well, we do plan to come up with a talk. And what do you do with the platform that you left? You know, that you decommissioned. Do you put it as, you know, the place where the fish can play, or do you want to turn it into a casino? Do you want to turn it into the fun offshore park? There's a lot of ways on people do with this left decommissioned platform. And also this also is part of the challenge. Later we will talk about it. Whenever that the platform has been there for like 30, 40, 50, sometimes 60 years, okay? 60 years over there, and you can expect the platform to be corroded here and there, and so on and so forth. I have worked in where the you know, when we want to do the plug and abandonment, and we come and take a look, you know, that there's a whole lot of part of the platform that has been corroded and cannot be used or cannot be accessed, you know, by us people. So these are some of the challenges that we will talk about. And two places where we do the plug and abandonment. One is whenever that you have done your exploration well, and you are not planning to actually what do you call that? To turn it into a producer whatsoever, then you plug and abandon. And also, of course, before you remove the platform, you need to plug and abandon each one of the well that you have over there. So this is the life of field. Very, very important part of understanding that you must have whenever that we talk about the oil and gas industry per se. Yeah. And we are only talking about the upstream of the oil and gas industry, which means from the time that you know, the oil is down there inside the formation, 3 kilometers down from the surface of the earth, and all the way until when the oil actually reaches the processing plant. So that is basically an upstream. So you will also have downstream about the things like that. Yeah. So let's move on. And We do have a question already. Yeah. Let me see. What is the rule of thumb or guide on the WPA calculation in the AFE sheet? Oh, the percentage of technical consideration. I will address the questions later. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for the question, Mr. Teo. We'll come back to you on that. Okay. Whenever that we talk about upstream business, yeah, upstream business or of the oil and gas industry, you cannot run away from PP Gua because all of the asset of hydrocarbon asset that you have in Malaysia, it is under Petronas, and that's why Petronas came up with the Petronas procedure for guidelines for upstream activities. PP Gua basically is a one-stop governing document. So when we talk about PP Gua, this is something that whenever that you are operating over in Malaysia, you have to abide to PP Gua. And PP Gua is just like any other manual, any other standards, where it will make references to all of the guidelines and requirements that you have internationally, regionally, as well as the company specific. Yeah. So whenever that we engineers, we basically live for this for this guidelines and manuals. So that's the reason why whenever that you, even before you start working on anything, you have to make sure that you refer to PP Gua. Yeah. All right. So PP Gua combines all of the requirements that you have in anything whenever that you want to operate over in Malaysia. Yeah. So right now the latest is PP Gua 4.1, but I got the access of the PP Gua 4.0 where I make reference for this presentation over here. So decommissioning is actually presented in volume 9. So if you would like to, if you have a copy of the PP Gua 4.0, then you will be able to see volume 9, abandonment, is inside there. Yeah. And it also have the reference. So whenever that we talk about everything happens in the oil and gas industry, you always have going back to the drilling and well operations. So that's the reason why when we talk about abandonment in volume 9, yeah, we also make a reference to volume 7. Volume 7 is about drilling and well operations. But section 9 of the volume 7, it specifically talk about plug and abandonment of wells. So why is that? So if we talk about the abandonment of the facilities, yeah, abandonment of facilities, you take out all of the structure, the plant, whatsoever, yeah, that is covered in volume 9. However, when we talk about the wells abandonment, you will have to go back into how the wells abandonment is done over in volume 7. So that's the reason why whenever that you go into volume 7, section 9, you will see plug and abandonment of wells, where it actually have the requirements, the regulations that you have inside there specific to the plug and abandonment of the wells. Now you see how serious the topic is, how important it is in the oil and gas industry per se, because you want to make sure that this is done properly. If this is not done properly, that's when you will have all of the disaster, not only people that die, but also the environment that got impacted. And it is actually very, very costly. All right. So when we talk about abandonment definition, yeah, the legal term of decommissioning, and you can find this in the petroleum arrangement contract. When we talk about work with Petronas, all of the contractors, all the operators from ExxonMobil BP or PTTEP or any other people that comes over to Malaysia to operate, we will have a petroleum arrangement contract. So what happens inside here is that, okay, you have this particular block, you can go and drill and produce from this block, but you are binded by this petroleum arrangement contract. Yeah, so all of the operators over in Malaysia is under this petroleum arrangement contract, and it is the act of removing the petroleum facilities that are disused. Yeah, you are not able to use. Why? Basically, you are not able to use because it's no longer commercially viable to produce from these particular facilities, or these facilities is so run down that it is so unsafe to go over there anymore, and so on and so forth. There are many reasons why you want to disuse petroleum facilities, and we are not just talking about the platforms, but also plants that you have onshore as well. And we do have some of the petroleum facilities, or the producing wells over in onshore as well, but it's very rare, and you do have some over in Miri. And to restore the affected contract area to a safe and environmentally stable condition. This is where the key is. So you will need, the contract area is basically that the field, the oil field, right? So it is to safe and environmentally stable condition. So what does that even mean? So that's why whenever that you handle all of these contracts, you handle standards, guidelines, and standard operating procedure, there's always a reference to some wordings that is put over there. Yeah. So and I can understand as well why basically Dr. Jayanti Ramasamy, who takes jurisprudence as her bachelor recently, and basically to get herself very equipped with these wordings and all that. So join us on the 3rd of June physically over in Malakoff. It will be very interesting for you to hear her talk. Okay, so environmentally stable condition. So what does that even mean? You want to make sure that the well is secure. What does it mean by secure? So that the hydrocarbon does not come up to the surface. Is that all? So there's a lot more to it. So that's why we will go through each one of these items today. Okay, let me do a time check. So 9:40. All right. So the laws and regulation and guidelines. The reference that I made over here is, of course, from PP GUA 4.0 Volume 9. So we have inside this PP GUA over here, International Convention. So you can see the list over here of international convention that we need to follow. So as as an engineer working to abandon the well, you need to be accustoming yourself. You need to accustom yourself to all of these regulations. If you do not, we are not expecting you to read every single one, but whenever that right now is so much easier, what you can do is open up the PDF and then you search for keywords. That's what I do. You think it's easy to manage the BNA project? No, you don't have time to actually read the whole standards, but you need to know what are the requirements, because if you are managing the plug and abandonment project, you are not just you are not just answering to your client, that is the operator doing it. You have to answer to your to your internal management as well, and you also have to educate the engineers that work with you so that they understand and appreciate what we do, what we need to achieve in a plug and abandonment project. Yeah. So international convention, you need to do that. And then national law and regulation. What are the acts that we have inside there? So for oil and gas industry practitioner in Malaysia, when we talk about the EEZ Act, all of us know about it because all of the offshore facilities is put inside there. There are some of the regulation that doesn't apply to the states, So you see over here state enactments as well. It happens. It is there as well. So, like for example, Sarawak has a natural resources and environment ordinance, and then Sabah has the environment protection enactment. So all of this you need to know because you will be operating in the state water. Although you are in the exclusive economic zone, which is like 500 miles away from the shore, but all of your facilities, like your vessels, your warehouse, are still in the state. And you will be moving because that is part of your the movement of your project. So the logistic of it, basically, you need to be involved with even the state enactments. So you need to know that as well, and also the guidelines that you have, especially the DOE and DOSH. DOE it's not that easy to actually get the approval to do that. That's why whenever that we want to do a project, a plug and abandon project, it's not like 3 months. In 3 months, I want to do this plug and abandonment lah. Cannot like that. You have to get all the proper approvals, and it basically takes quite some time, sometimes about a year before the project is sanctioned, and then you need to do the preparation. So if you don't do these preparations, then that is when you get stuck. I've seen projects that got stuck 1.5 years. You just imagine you put together a project and the project basically got stuck for 1.5 years, and you still have to pay for your resources. When we talk about resources, it's not just people, but also the equipment that has been booked for that particular project, and the contractors that goes along with it. So this is a big amount of money, and projects can be an abandonment project can be quite expensive. Yeah, very, very expensive actually. And one thing that you realize from this talk as well, it becomes hard because there's not much money that was put over here as part of the budget. People don't budget for this kind of things because when you budget for something that has the ROI, but this one does not have ROI. What do you get out of plug and abandonment? You don't get anything out of it except for making sure that people don't die and environment does not get this, does not come into disaster where you have the spewing of oil in the sea and whatsoever. So we are doing this because of our responsibilities rather than a commercial aspect of it. So that's the reason why plug and abandonment becomes very challenging, because we never have enough money to actually work on this kind of project, but we have to, because it is our responsibility to make sure that the wells are all basically able to be considered as safe to be left there alone. Yeah. All right. we go into the types of PNA. So we have temporary abandonment. So when we talk about temporary abandonment, so when we talk about that Mokondo, it was a temporary abandonment because what they want to do is to abandon it temporarily while waiting for the facilities to produce it. Yeah, but whenever that they try to abandon it, and it wasn't confirmed yet that it is safe to be left there, they they let the pressure out. So that's how basically it's happened. But again, when we talk about temporary abandonment over here, you need to put in temporary suspension cap. And what does that even mean? Temporary suspension cap, if you put it inside there, you need to make sure that it is safe. That means you do have a string inside here, because the string over here is for you to be able to regulate the pressure that you have down there. Yeah. Realize over here, and the same thing as well, whenever that any interns want to work with me, I will ask them what is the calculation for the formula for the hydrostatic pressure, because that's all there is that we are concerned about. Hydrostatic pressure, the pressure that you have from the formation does not come out with to the surface. And how do you do that? You want to fill up all over in this string over here with liquid that is able to flow, number one. And number two is for it to be able to sustain that pressure. So you need to calculate H rho G, the height times the density of the fluids times the gravity. So you will need to calculate all of that. So it's everything in drilling. It's all about appreciating the science, because you do have the principles of Bernoulli, you have the Newton's laws that you have to apply. So it's actually quite simple once you understand all of these laws. Okay. All right. The second reason is whenever that you intend to produce in the future. So if you want to bring in the facilities to produce, that is when you are able to you can temporarily abandon it. But whenever that you drill the well, exploration wells, for example, and you found inside there a lot of oil. Ooh, I would like to produce it later. I'm not gonna abandon this well yet. I just want to plug it first. But you have to make sure, it must be developed within 5 years. If you don't develop it within 5 years, then you need to go back over there and abandon it. And each time you want to go to that particular location, it is not easy like you want to drive your car and go over there. No, you need to hire the entire, jack-up rig. And when we talk about jack-up rig to bring over there, it can cost you like what, 200,000 US dollar a day. That is just for the rig. And how about the rest of the things that goes along with it? It's a very, very expensive business. So if you don't have the money, then you cannot do that. So that's the reason why Petronas also pening kepala tau. Whenever that you say that you're going to temporarily abandon, and then you left it for like more than 5 years, of course the Petronas marah kan, because they jaga the field. This is their responsibility to make sure that everything over in Malaysia is safe. Yeah. So it's not an easy job for anyone at all. Yeah. All right. And then you have the permanent abandonment, where you want to restore it back, like this one over here. You want to restore it back to the natural form as much as practically possible. What does that even mean? So whatever that, in order for, say for example, if I'm given a project, I would first ask whether what kind of budget do you have? Yeah. Um, if your budget is small, then we can actually try to design a plug and abandonment that is simple. So, which is minimum, meeting the requirement of all of the regulation, but you don't have the second line of defense or third line of defense or whatsoever, but you meet the requirement. However, if you have extra budget, and if you want to make sure that your plug and abandonment is like at the higher level, then you need to allocate a lot more money. But no one wants to put in money inside the plug and abandonment, because plug and abandonment, as I mentioned over to you, does not have any return of return of economically. So after you plug an abandonment, all you have to get, all you get is basically satisfaction that you have done your responsibility, for a safe world. Okay, so that's why it is an interesting project to work with. So I will pick and choose a certain project which is, which has really benefits to me, some new things for me, the challenge that they have inside there, gets me going with that project. Sometimes this can be really challenging. So anyway, when do we abandon wells? So when exploration well objective is completed and was found to be dry. So what does it mean by dry? So whenever that you do an exploration well, you drill, and then you test it down there. Oh, that's only water. How about those things that the reservoir engineers say got some hydrocarbon inside there? Oh, they didn't read it nicely. It's actually just water. Okay, so it's water, and or if you have oil over there, but very very little oil. Only trace cannot use it anymore. So what all you have to do is go and plug and abandon that particular well. How do you want to do that? That is where this catch actually mentioned. When a development well has reached uneconomical, it become uneconomical to produce. So when the well basically was producing, and then after like 30, 40, 50, sometimes 60 years as well, and then it becomes uneconomical anymore. So you need to plug and abandon before you chop off that particular platform to put it somewhere else. Yeah. Other than that, of course, whenever that you drill, you encounter whole problem. When you talk about whole problem, you just imagine, you drill down here, and we are not talking about like 100, 200 meters. We are talking about like 2,000 meters over here. 2 kilometers, 2 kilometers. So if you run the 2 kilometers very, very far, isn't it? That's how far that we have to drill inside the hole. So, and when we talk about why basically do you put all of these strings over here to make sure that all this batu-batu over here did not come down and then got hole stuck whatsoever lah. But we can have other talks about that later if you're interested to hear. Yeah. But what I wanted to show over here is whenever that you want to leave the well, that's the reason why you want to put a cement over here, you want to put a plug over here. You realize, why you put a plug over here and then you want to put cement on top? That's why we call it a double barrier, mechanical double barrier. So make sure, so if you say, for example, you want to kill someone, so you shot the person in the head and you think they are dead already, but probably they become zombies, so you chop off their head as well. Like that lah. So you want to make sure that this well kill, die. Make sure that it does not become another Mokondo. So that's the reason why whenever that you when you want to abandon the well, so those two times, exploration wells as well as development wells. And sometimes if you in a whenever that you have problems whatsoever, whenever you're drilling, you also can actually plug and abandon a certain well. Usually we will try to salvage whatever that we can, because as I mentioned over to you, working offshore like this, although it is very, very beautiful, you see the sea over here, you see all of that. That is actually a real scenario here. So it's a nice senja, nice subuh time. But what happens over here, if say for example you have the whole problem, you will need to secure that particular well. All right. Okay. Why the need for a proper plug and abandonment? Okay, so whenever that you are working on certain well, you want to drill whatsoever, you drill and then you put casing, you cement, drill, casing, cement. That's the reason why you have like this, the tapered like this, yeah. So you always have this blowout preventer. What blowout preventer does is that if there is any surge whatsoever down here, when I say surge, is pressure lah, and pressure, whenever that pressure comes, it comes together with the hydrocarbon or whatever fluids that you have inside there lah. So you push all the way up here, and we are talking about down here can be like normal well about 3,000 psi. 3,000 psi is quite a lot. So whenever that is shoot up here, it basically will be quite disastrous lah. And some of the high pressure, high temperature well, HPHT wells, if you have heard about it, and it can go up to like 10,000 psi, 15,000 psi. So that's the reason why we have this blowout preventer, BOP over here, to make sure that you secure. So whenever that, say for example, as I mentioned over here to you just now, hydrostatic pressure, always have something inside here, the density that is higher than the pressure that you have down here. How do we do that? Of course, that is another topic of talk that you can attend later. Yeah. All right. So provide downhole isolation between hydrocarbon zone. So this is hydrocarbon zone. This is hydrocarbon zone. Hydrocarbon zone. So this particular zone, we don't want it to communicate. This one cannot communicate. So at the bottom over there, although it is rock, so inside the rocks over there, there's also that what we call as porosity, and you have the porosity which contains all of this hydrocarbon whatsoever, and also the porosity that is connected is called permeability. So that permeability where it's the hydrocarbon can actually move around with the help of the natural pressure that you have down there. Okay, all right, and then you want to protect your freshwater aquifer. Okay, in Malaysia, of course, we are not you basically don't appreciate this as much because it's over offshore, kan? It's at the middle of the sea. But if you basically have the well being drilled at the back of your house, yeah, just like in Texas, over in Russia, in China, in India, you have, and also in Saudi Arabia, you have wells that is drilled at the back of your house, and that is also your water source. So water aquifer is, and of course in Malaysia we are so much gifted. We have like all this takungan air whatsoever which is on top of the hill, but some places over in the desert, basically they get the water from downhole. So it's water aquifer that you have downhole. So just be thankful that whenever that you open up your tap and then you rasa the air, it is fresh and nice. But whenever that you go to places like India, whatsoever, it tastes like, oh, it tastes like dirt. Yeah. But that is because the water actually comes from down there, from the water aquifer. So we want to make sure that we protect the fresh water. Whenever that you have hydrocarbon over here, there's always the potential to actually leak and impact your water sources over there. Yeah. Of course, the third one is prevent migration of formation fluids through the well bore. Of course, we do not want. That's the reason why whenever that you have this, you put in the what do you call that? The cement over there, and that cement you want to make sure that it is really good. And then after you cement it, and after the cement has already been solidified at the right time that you want down there, then you can release the pressure, and you can check whether there's any pressure that come up. Of course, you want to make sure that you regulate your density over here so that it basically has a lower density, so that you can let go of pressure coming up. But if there is any opening over here, you can be sure that the pressure will actually come up inside here. So this is one of the process that I will stress out again in the list. Okay, time check is 10 o'clock. So give me another 15 minutes so that I can finish up this, and then we can open up to the line of questions. And you can ask any questions. You can put inside the chat as well. And you can, Wata later will entertain some of the questions that you may have. Yeah. All right. Wow, still people coming in. 10 o'clock already. All right. So we go into the process of abandonment. Yeah. First, as I mentioned over to you, evaluate. Evaluate, design, assemble, isolate, confirm. Evaluate. So we want to evaluate the facilities. So if the facilities, Razak, come and help us to plug and abandon this well. Okay, how do I know this is a platform, a wellhead platform? Because you have conductors down here, and that is where the production comes in. Last time lah. So right now, please come and abandon this. Hello, how do I want to come and abandon when your platform is like this? You fix the platform first, only then you call me, yeah? Okay. So facilities, you need to make sure that the facilities is there. Of course, you check just now, the regulation, all the list of regulation, international regulation, national regulation, state enactments, as well as the industry regulation. Wow. So, and the budget. Got money or not? Got no money. Don't need to do that. But so budget is really important, because without the budget, it is very hard for us to move. Because if I have to manage the project, in order for me to bring the equipment, I need to pay the people. And we are talking about managing about 20 contractors out there. So if I call them for the equipment, if I don't have money to pay them, then how do I want to do the project? So budget, must God. Budget cannot be little. Budget, if you want to do this, we can always take a look at the design. What exactly do you need to meet in terms of because each one of the well, I can say that each one of this well over here is very unique on its own. Yeah, sometimes it's a design. So if you have a different design in terms of the casing sizes and all that, all the different equipments I need to go in and put it inside the hole in order for me to pull out the casing whatsoever. And if the design of the casing last time is wasn't really that good, so the casing is all corroded, then I will need to fix that problem first. And then if say for example the cement that you used was like a really bad kind of like cement design or cement job that was done, then I need to remedy that problem first. So depends on the uniqueness of the wells that you have over there. It will cost a certain amount of money. I can put in over there, it's okay lah, you give me 800,000 US dollar, I'll fix it for you. No, it's not like that, because you need to take a look at each one of the design and what you need to do in order to come up with a budget. And I saw just now, Mr. Teo got a question on the AFE, authorization for expenditure. Later we will talk about it. Yeah. So hopefully I will get the chance to address those questions. So 10 o'clock right now. So best that you can do. So again, that's the reason why we have all of this regulation or whatsoever, because that is the minimum for you to meet. So each one of the company will have different kind, each one of the clients will have different kind of requirements, because usually PPCO will give you the minimums, but you as a company, sometimes some companies basically have a higher standard. But higher standard, of course you want more money lah. But again, if you are not willing to pay, then do the minimum lah. Make a waiver whenever that you have guidelines or standards that you have to follow, but you have done your due diligence and you have done all the calculations and whatsoever, you can request for waiver to that particular regulation, and you need to go and ask for approval. Of course, there's a lot more work lah. But if that, the difference can be a lot. And when we talk about a waiver, if I were to raise a waiver, the savings that you can actually get, it can be like in the terms of millions of US dollar for a whole project. So it is worth to get the waiver, but in order to get a waiver, of course, it's a whole set of reviews that you need to do, because you need to get approval of whoever that signed that standards earlier. So you can imagine how hard that is. But if it's worth it, why not? If it can save the company a lot of money, why not? A lot more work, of course, but it will save the money. Why not? So best that you can do, but whatever it is, you need to meet the minimum requirement. How do you want to know that? Get yourself educated with the regulations that we have, requirements that you have inside there, in order for you not to fall into the crack of not meeting that requirement, because regulations can be updated. Sometimes it makes it a bit relaxed, sometimes it makes it more stringent, so you need to know what the requirements are. Then the second item is to design. So whenever that you want to design, of course, you want to take a look at the availability of the equipment and resources in the local market. So whenever that I choose an accommodation barge to bring in all the people or some of the rigs that will do the work. So I need to make sure what is there in the local. Why would I want to mobilize an equipment that is over in Dubai or in the US that will cost me like millions and millions of dollars to actually bring that into the region? So you need to make sure what is available in the local market. Just like whenever that you go to the restaurants, if you try to go to the restaurants, like Italian restaurants that get all the resources from the Italy, then you probably don't get the best of it, because it's from Italy. You get something like if you get the restaurants to cook you can't cook, you know that can't cook is basically the freshest one. So the same thing as well over in the oil and gas industry, you make use of what is available in the local market, and then restore to original state as much as possible. And you hear this again and again and again and again. We would like to restore whatever that we have done. Say, for example, 30 years before, I have gone over there and produced all of the production whatsoever. But it is my responsibility to go back over there and then restore it to the original state as much as possible. So that is our responsibility. Best case design versus meeting requirements. That was again when you are designing, you have that option. Yeah. So what we coin now is called fit for purpose. So fit for purpose is like you create a design which is for that particular work. And usually standardization will not work over here because each one of the well is unique. Because although the well is the same design when it was drilled like 30 years ago, but right now the condition of both of the wells will not be the same. Yeah. All right. And then also the condition of the wells, as I mentioned, rusted casing, tubing, leaking completion, equipment, and also poor quality of cement. All right. And then the third is assemble. So you want to put together equipment resources. So rig, supporting marine equipment, the cutters, how do you want to cut? Because you cannot leave all of the casing down there. Remember whenever that you want to drill, you have all the casing, whatever, you want to pull out that casing. How do you want to pull out that casing? Of course, you need to cut whichever part that the casing that is not cemented. Cemented cannot do anything. And then the cement plugs that you need to plug over there, the cement that you want to use, and other services. So that's the reason why you have to deal with 20 contractors. And just imagine this, so 20 contractors will look at you. Razak, bila nak bayar? It's always like that, So schedule. Schedule. Malaysia has monsoon season. So whenever that you want to put in the project that does not bring money to you like this, schedule. So weather, and also facilities. Sometimes when you want to go into that particular facilities platform, that platform is still producing, you cannot shut down. Whenever that you want to go, you need to shut down the operation. So we need to have this timing, facilities decommissioning. So whenever that you go inside there, some of the places, people are trying to decommission, you need to work together with them. So scheduling, very, very important. So you have heard, evaluate, design, assemble. Let's take a look quickly on the isolate. So isolate over here, prevent flow for a long period of time. What does it mean by for a long period of time? Of course, we want it to be forever. However, forever will not be possible. Sometimes you design it such that it will be as long as possible, but again, because of the difference in terms of in terms of the movement of the earth whatsoever, so cement can get cracked and whatnot. Bridge plugs over here can get ruined because over there, down there, you have like 150 degrees Celsius and you have pressure that is like 3000 psi. What do you think it will happen to all of this equipment? Of course, it will get ruined. So that's why we have all of this problem. So no communication between formation. I stress out so many times whenever that you have perforation over here, you do not want it to communicate. Say for example, cement over here, yeah. If the cement is not good, then it can communicate nothing. And you have the bubbles will come out because all of these are pressure, 3000 pressure. Of course, 3000 pressure, if you have down, it will go up. Yeah. So that's the reason why you do not want communication between formation. and no communication between formation and wellbore. Yeah, you realize during my presentation, I keep on repeating on certain things because they are very important. So because I would like you to actually meet the objective of the talk, at the end of the session, you actually will be able to understand the talk. So that's the reason why some of these items, why basically it is we do it this way. I keep on repeating such stuff. Yeah. All right. Isolate, and of course confirm. You make sure that you are able to confirm the isolation is intact. How do you want to do that? The best that you can do, you pressurize that particular hole to make sure that there is no return. Say for example, if you pressure over here and you see some bubbles over here, that means you didn't do a good job. You didn't do a good job over here. You didn't do a good job over there. So you make sure. That's the reason why we want to confirm. That's the reason why as well people didn't confirm in a Mokondo field that the explosion actually happened. So able to confirm the barrier's integrity. So whenever that we set over here, we pressurize it to make sure that again, we confirm that it is set, that it is doing what it's supposed to do, which is to make sure that you plug that particular part over there. Yeah. All right. And of course, the process: evaluate, design, assemble, isolate, and confirm. 5 items. You want to make sure that you do that whenever that you plug and abandon a well. So, summary over here. I hope Engineer Wata is happy that I finish up early. So, in time, yeah, give me just a bit more, yeah, Wata. So, summary over here. You have a wells plug and abandonment required during the exploration. That is to answer the question of when do you want to do the wells plug and abandonment, and what types of wells plugs and abandonment are there. Those are the 2 items: temporary as well as permanent. Temporary, you want to do that. Temporary, you want to do that during the what do you call it? Exploration wells, or sometimes what you want to produce it in the future. But always also there's always limitation. Yeah, remember limitation: 5 years. If you don't develop that particular, you don't produce from that particular, you want to go back over there to abandon it permanently. So it's not an easy thing to do. That's the reason why you need to think ahead, like a few years down the line. What do we want to do with this? So this question is asked even before I go and drill the particular well, because before I drill the well, I will ask the reservoir engineer, what exactly is your plan? Yeah, do you want to if you find oil over here, what do you plan to do? Are you going to produce it? If you want to produce it, then do you have the facilities ready and going over there within the 5 years? So I will need to ask all of this question, to the project team to make sure that they know what they are going into. Yeah. So wells plug and abandonment types: 2, temporary as well as permanent. And of course, you have heard about the process, which is to evaluate, design, assemble, isolate, and confirm. So these are the things that for those who basically just joined in, welcome. But we are almost at the end of the talk session. And the conclusion over here, I would like you all to get, other than, of course, the summary of the talk that I have over here. The conclusion is engineering is not just about making money. It is about recommending the most optimized solution. Money is always important, lah. So that's why we have optimized solution to a problem while ensuring the safety, sustainability, and operational excellence in the most professional way, governed by engineering ethics. So engineering ethics is really important. because you, as an engineer, you basically have the title, you carry the title IR over there. That means you are a professional engineer. And if you carry that title, you are governed by the engineering ethics. Even the graduate engineers, you are still governed by the engineering ethics, because once you call yourself as an engineer, even though you are a graduate engineer, that you still are governed by the engineering ethics. Know what the engineering ethics says, and if you are not sure, go over to the BM website, and download that engineering ethics, what it says in our the Registration Act. Yeah. All right. So it is very important for you all to note over here that how much money that we allocate to do the project will always depend on what we really want to do in the design of the plug and abandonment. But we have to make sure all the safety and the sustainability and the operational excellence is still there. So that's the reason why I keep on saying to everyone, every new engineers that come into the team, to basically understand why basically you become an engineer and take the responsibility of the world to become an engineer. So that's because you hold that responsibility. It's a big responsibility to the world. And I will end my talk session over here with this sad picture of a pelican that is covered with oil. This is taken from the Mokondo project, and this pelican, of course, is at the shore of the Gulf of Mexico. And they are covered with oil. And how thick the oil is, look at that. And Mokondo is one of the richest field that you have, and just imagine the amount of oil that comes out. And even after producing for a very long time, like it has been produced for such a long time, like it was, they managed to contain it in September of 2010. So from April, May, June, July, August, September, for 5 months, even though it has been uncontrollably produced for 5 months, Mokondo still have a lot of oil inside there. So how rich is that? But again, as I mentioned, over to you, this particular field, of course, there's a lot more challenge to go in and do over here, like Deepwater Horizon, for example. The cost of just the rig, the semi-submersible rig was $1 million a day in 2010. Just imagine right now what basically is the rate, the rig rates. So in Malaysia, you got a rig rates of about 200 plus US, 200,000 plus US dollar per day. So it's a very, very expensive business. So that's the reason why we will try to avoid such disaster. So well plug and abandonment is a critical element, ensuring the safety of people, environment, as well as the asset. With that, I conclude my talk. Thank you all so much for your attention. So I would like to open now for any questions that you may have. Jurutera, would you like to lead on that?
Okay, thank you, Engineer Razak. I guess there was a lot of content there. First was about safety, and then managing money, then it was description, and then managing money, and then it was things to consider, and then managing money, and you get the point. But I guess the talk was not about money. So those of you who are confused about the topic of the talk, or would like clarification, you have until about 11 o'clock, at which time we will shut the curtains, put up the chairs, and start sweeping the room. And I will throw Razak out of the out of the chat box. So let me see, which one was the one that okay. Mr. Teo had, I think I answered Razak answered the first one. I will look at the ones which I think are directly relevant to. I'm looking at in the chat. So Razak, you can see the chat, right? You cannot see the chat.
Yes, I can see the chat. Okay, so the first question is actually from Mr. Teo. I mentioned it earlier. So Mr. Teo asked about the rule of thumb or guide for the well plug and abandonment calculation in the AFE sheets, yeah, like the percentage, technical consideration, and so on and so forth. Okay, when we talk about the AFE, we talk about it is authorization for expenditure for all of the people who basically wonder. Yeah. So AFE is actually put together based on the design of the well. Yeah. So for each one of the well, we have to take a look at the design and see what are the things that, of course, how. The most important part is how many days that it will take to actually do the work. Yeah. And then because that days will convert into all of the rental of equipment, working of people, and so on and so forth. So there's no rule of thumb per se for us to actually do the AFE calculations. However, when if I were to take a look at the design, I would say, okay, how much time do I need to take to actually bring the workover rig to the location? That is called the mobilization of the project. And then once the people as well as all the equipment is at the location, how long does it take for me to kill the well? Because you need to kill the well first. You have to make sure, although the well is not producing, but it is still alive. Yeah. So I need to kill the well. Later, if you are interested, I will do a talk on those items as well. So you kill the well, and then you want to make sure you access the well and access the well, and then you want to cut off all the casings. All these are done in stages, and usually it can take about until we plug and abandon about 10 days, like that. So 10 days is inside there, and each one of the 10 days will be times together with the rig rates, and rig rates can be workover rig can be cheaper, yeah. But if you are bringing in a jackup rig to make life much easier, because whenever that you use a workover rig, it will be slower work. But if you bring in a jackup rig, it will be a faster work. So there's a lot of differences in terms of the calculations. So that is how much that we can do in terms of, yeah. I hope I answer your question, Mr. Teo. Sorry if I did not answer the question, but there is no rule of thumb per se, but that is how much that I can answer. Okay, next question also from Mr. Teo. Yeah, so far, each perforation zone, group 1 and 2, typically require a plug cement as barrier or require any additional barrier based on the shed slide. Okay, if you see that slide as well, whenever that you do a barrier, yeah, you must always have at least 2 mechanical barrier. When we say mechanical barrier, it is in the form of mechanical, and it could be a plug that you put inside there. So it could be the cement over there, because these are considered as mechanical barrier. If you have inside there your fluids, yeah, your completion fluids over there, that gives, I was mentioning H-Rho-G, this hydrostatic, it provides hydrostatic during that time. But fluids basically may change its density throughout the time. So say, for example, you have a density of 15.5 pounds per gallon of density, but throughout the time you basically have settlement of all of this item, so the density has already changed. So that's the reason why that is not considered as a mechanical barrier. So you must put in mechanical barrier too. Yeah. How is the cement slurry calculation formula for the plug? That is a very wonderful question, because it will take some time for me to explain, but I will do a talk about that. How is the cement calculation? But one thing I would like to tell everyone, the cement slurry that we have, the cement that we put inside the hole, is a magical cement, yeah. Because we have the cement, we put in all the chemicals, it is pumped at the right pressure, at the right temperature, it will solidify as what I designed. That is how magical the cement is. But that probably did not work during the Mokondo. That's the reason why the cement did not set and you have the explosion. So that's how important is the cement slurry calculation formula is. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you. I hope I answer your question, Mr. Teo. And I do have from Azwira. Okay, Azwira over here. Is it true there is a need to provide funds for EPRD, plug and abandonment, removal, the green project? Yes. I think starting from the past 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, all of the FDP, in fact, whenever that I teach the university student about the field development plan, they are required to include in the plan for the plan for the plug and abandonment, so that because field development plan will mention like the life cycle of the expected life cycle of the field. So after 20 years, 30 years, this is how you want to plug and abandon. That is in the plan in the FDP. Then also nowadays there's a requirement by Petronas where they will allocate the amount of money by the operator to actually do the plug and abandonment or decommissioning of the facilities itself in the future. So they have kind of like a bank where operators will need to contribute to that particular funds. Yes, the answer is yes, Azwira. Okay, and then Engineer Muhammad Her basically asked Razak any rule of thumb, duration, and commercial ballpark figure to execute per P&A firm. As I mentioned, again, it depends on the design. Some plug and abandonment can be done in 5 days. Some need to be done in 15 days. So the complexity is various, yeah? So how much does it cost? It can cost as as cheap as 500,000 US dollar a well, and it can be as expensive as 2, 3, 4, 5 million as well. So it depends on the complexity of the design of the well. So there's a lot of factors that goes along over here. But again, there's there are many people actually what they do is that they try to standardize that. We can actually put a standardization in terms of what we do. But again, when it comes to do the final design, you definitely will need to recheck back the condition of the well, because we will only know the condition of the well after we open it. So how do we want to open it? We want to bring all the equipment first. So that's basically the amount of that's the complexity that we got along with it. That's the reason why the talk over here is about complexity. It is not as simple as just this is how much it will cost. It will depend on the condition of the well. Okay, Mr. Teo asks a further question. Do we refer to API RP653, Wellbore Plugging and Abandonment, any other API standard to refer to also? Yes, we do. Yeah. So any API is one of the international environment regulations, not regulations, but standards that we follow. Again, whatever that was mentioned, I hope you were here since the start, because I did mention this, did list down all of the PPGUA, whatever PPGUA listed as the required standards to follow. As long as we are operating in Malaysia, we need to abide to that PPGUA requirement. But if you are, over in other countries, you're operating in other countries, of course, API is something that you want to refer to. Yeah. Thank you. All right. For engineer to design the WPA is Well Plug and Abandonment, also required to be certified by IWCF IDC level 4 for well control. Okay. For engineers, yes, they will need to have that. The reason is because they will need to understand because the engineer working on it, whenever that they come up with the design, they also will need to come up with the procedure. So whenever that you do procedure, you need to understand what are the work that you need to do. Is that someone was saying, or
Engineer Core, your microphone is on. Turn it off, please.
or Wata, you can mute them. You have that capability to do that. Okay.
I do it as well, right?
All right. All right. So let's go back over there. So level 4 of the IWCF, yes, you are required to have that to make sure that you understand. Actually, the requirement of the level 4 is by the client. So whenever that they come up with the bidding package, they will put over there what is the requirement of the IWCF. Yeah. Of course, people working offshore will need to have the IWCF for well control. But because it is actually well-controlled situation that you need to abide to. Yeah. All right. Engineer Chong, basically, is the cement slurry to be used for the plugging needs to have a specific characteristic strength, say about 30 kPa or more. Also, how long does it normally take to carry out and complete the P&A job? Okay. All right. So cement slurry, I mentioned it, is a magical thing. In terms of the requirement of the characteristic of the strength, you need to go over to the volume 7, where it is under drilling, volume 7, drilling operations, under section 9 on the plug and abandonment, because each one of the section, will have different requirement. Yeah, 30 kPa, if I'm not mistaken, is over at the bottommost. Yeah, which is depending on the pressure of the formation. Yeah. All right. And then Engineer Supia Rao, how many wells? And also your need normally takes to, I answered that question. It can be as like 5 days, or it can be like 15-20 days. So depending on the well. How many wells in Malaysia are anticipated to be P&A by 2030? Okay, I did have this answer before, but I don't have it right now. But what it is updated on the annual basis. That package, I don't have the number per se right now, but but there is a package that Petronas actually talked through during the the conference that they have, Well Plug and Abandonment conference that they did earlier. Yeah. Sorry about that, Engineer Supia. I don't have that information right now. So, Engineer Chan, if the abandonment and well plugging of the well is done based on the minimum requirement due to budget constraint, what is the minimum time required for the organization to be free from liabilities if the plug well still leak in the near future? I don't have the answer to that. However, when the bid actually comes out, inside the contract, because there is no standard per se that listed this, but the bid package that comes out, the operator usually will actually put inside there what is the requirement, the warranty. Usually, if I'm not mistaken, I have seen in the bid package that I've seen, the warranty is 1 year. However, because we really do not know what will happen down there, because again, as I mentioned over, petroleum engineering is partly engineering and mostly arts, because you are not able to see what is down there. You analyze it based on your understanding, scientific understanding, and also your imagination. Yeah. So there's a whole lot of things happening down there: pressure, temperature, sometimes the earthquakes, movement, seismic movement, because Earth is always moving. Yeah, so that's the reason why the warranty that is requested by is only 1 year. However, whenever that you do your work, again, as an engineer, you do the best that you can at whatever meeting whatever minimum requirement that there is. Yeah. Okay, great practical answer. Thanks. Thank you, Theo, for the question. And we have Cartigan. Rosa, is there any example of failed P&A job after some years, and how the rectification work were done to contain any leaks, considering the platform decom has been completed? We wouldn't know, because what will happen, especially over in Malaysia, after the wells has already been plugged, all already plugged, and then we check the best that we can. So and then we remove the platform. Once they remove the platform, no one actually is monitoring the area lah. However, if we see bubbles whatsoever at that particular area, then we know something is wrong. But as far as I know, there is no condition of that over in Malaysia yet. However, bubbles that comes out from the bottom of the sea is not abnormal. Yeah, in places where all the oil and gas operations is not done, sometimes there's also a bubble, because as I mentioned over to you, there is always movement of the earth. Sometimes whether they move, and then there's also trapped pocket of gas down the hole that got released. So that's where all the bubbles that comes out. Sometimes whenever we come into new area, we try to pachak the platforms. The platform that goes inside there, it poke into the gas pocket. We get all of that as well. But of course, before we do all this pachak, we have done all the studies that we can around that area, making sure that there is no gas pockets or whatsoever. Okay, and also there's also a question from Mr. Theo. Hopefully in the future, to share a session on involved disciplined contractors. Mentioned about 20 contractors. Yes, authorities to liaise with, and types of documents for approval, grant timeline, and different stages and preparation work. Real example. we will do that. Thank you so much, Mr. Teo. So that's the end of the questions, and I think it's the right time because it's 10:45 right now. And thank you so much, everyone, for the attention and all the questions that we will have. And I hope all of you remember the list of upcoming talks that we will have in the upcoming months, and join us again. All right, back to you, Wata.
Engineer Razak, you something strange. You stopped talking before 11 o'clock. So there's still some time.
Because we do have a meeting at 11. So I need to make sure that we stop in time. Go ahead.
Okay. So Engineer Razak, I think in his addressing the questions, had some items that he discussed. As far as liability is concerned, local rules apply. So you may want to look up as to your liability about design and installation of the good stuff. What else was there? Regulations, yes, regulations apply. As Engineer Razak said, he is aware of things in the pipeline. So please be connected to the IEM social media and our website. Oh, and if you are accessing the website, you might want to sign up for online registration, because one of the resources that we have for oil, gas, and reservoir, I hope, is in our electronic library. So which I think has resources. Engineer Razak, can you confirm or deny, or?
What we will do in the future, the talks will be made available on YouTube. In fact, this talk will be one of the first few that will go into the YouTube, because, well, it's mine. So I give a consent for people to actually view this again. So if you are missing out on some of the parts of the talk, go ahead and review that in the YouTube. So there's a lot more items in the YouTube as well that you IEM official YouTube channels. So make sure that you subscribe to that, as well as Wata as the chairman of the social media for IEM. But also have the Instagram for you, Facebook, and LinkedIn as well, where you can actually get connected and be connected with IEM. Thank you.
Engineer Razak, are you aware, is there any books in our electronic library that related?
Oh, yes. Yes, in our electronic library. So if you are a member of the IEM, you go into the login part, the login part, yeah, and you can search under drilling. You have all the books in PDF format, where you can actually borrow or actually download lah, kan? And you can learn more about drilling or about well abandonment as well. Go ahead and do that. There's a lot more that you can find in our online library. Go and do that. Thank you.
Okay, so Engineer Razak has shared additional resources, and when in doubt, you can always join the Oil, Gas and Mining Technical Division, of which I am a member as well, obviously. What else was there? You can, again, keep up with IEM Go. We have a channel there. I think we have a web page in Facebook, one of the side channels. Please follow us, and also the main IEM channel, and also the if anything slips through the cracks, it will always be on the IEM website, which is at myiem.org.my. If you search for my IEM, which actually is not my IEM, is also your IEM, then you can find all the talks, not only oil, gas, and mining, but then as engineer, there's quite a lot of overlap. There's safety, there's the regulations if you're interested in. If you want to propose a topic, that I actually don't know how you do, but if you go and hunt around on the website, somebody is sure to respond to you. And I did not have anything else, and there was no further topics in the chat. So with that, I would like to close out this session. Again, thank you, Engineer Razak, for presenting a enlightening, engaging, and very high energy presentation. And thank you all for attending, and Secretariat for making sure that Engineer Razak can spread his gospel of drilling to the world and continue his role of taking over the world. So thank you all. Then we'll catch you up with you. Again, don't forget my IEM.org.my. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Bye. See you all in the next talk. Bye.